You're listening to the Life in General podcast with Tom and Jaye. An hour of informative commentary on today's headlines, current events, and what's going on around the world and around the corner. And now, here are your hosts, Tom and Jaye Darden.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Life in General podcast here with Tom and Jaye, coming at you with episode 73, title TBD as the norm. And we're going to start this episode off the same way we do every time and ask the man of the hour how he is down in what used to be sunny Ecuador, but now might be cloudy paradise. Who knows, man?
The last 2 days, the sun has been out.
Oh, there you go.
For more than like 4 hours. So
I'm sure you like that.
Oh yeah, we've been out of our minds. You know, everybody's been running around outside, going, "What is it? What's wrong with what's wrong with the atmosphere and stuff?"
Right.
Yeah, because we hadn't seen the sun in like 3 months.
Oh my.
And it's very, very unusual to be like that here. So
makes sense.
Yeah, it came out early this morning, early like 7, and was out all day until 3 or 4 in the afternoon, which was unusual here. So
that is pretty different.
Yeah, it was real different, but it's okay. I mean, the difference is it jumps about 15 degrees when the sun's out.
Oh yeah, I have no doubt. To about 15 degrees to a million. Yeah,
because you're close to it. Excuse me, closer to it. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. You've had a little bit of sun. You're getting a little bit of that warm weather back. Hopefully that will continue. I'm sure you all want it, but you can keep it. Now, granted, I can tell that I am aging, as I used to be shorts, t-shirts, all this all the time, and then this year. Your boy's getting cold, and it's something where that doesn't normally happen too often, and it's something where I was out getting gas this week, and it was about 50 degrees. I mean, it was like 48 or something like that, and I was getting gas at a Thornton's like one does while I was on break at the office, and I was actually in pants and a shirt kind of like this, and it was cold. I don't know if it was the wind possibly or what, but it was just a gray sky and just kind of dreary, and there's no sun beating down on you, so you don't get any sort of warmth throughout the day, or not nearly as much. And it was just. Oh man, it was like almost oppressive in the, relatively speaking, oppressive for around here. Now, granted, it's going to get much colder, but it's kind of wild, right? Because there are certain instances where you can be in the sun, but it's 30 degrees outside, and it's not too bad, right? I mean, if as long as you're in sunlight and there's no wind and stuff, it's actually kind of like whatever. Where no sun plus wind and just dreariness, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, like I said, that's just me aging and having to wear pants and whatnot. And hilariously, at work, when I wore pants the first 2 days, people actively noticed. I mean, they were like they're being a bit shocked because I just wear shorts all the time, and not that is professional, but I was being comfortable, and it didn't really matter to me. Where now we're kind of stepping the game up a little bit and trying to put out that culture, put out that or maybe trick people into thinking that we are well put together, when in fact we I won't say on air because this is recorded, right? So
you're professionals,
right? 100%. So.
Right.
Professionals. Sense. Well, in what profession? Who knows, right? Are we professional clowns or are we professionals at other things? So, kind of interesting. I had some meetings this week, and something that was kind of interesting, like kind of introspective sort of thing. was talking to some team members, and they told me it's like, you don't have to be our friend, right? Now, I think that came from a place of like, they are assuming I need their social validation, right? Or me just trying to get to know them because one team is in the office, right? And then one team is not. And I've been so far removed from the other team, just like in general, in terms of sociability and stuff like that. I mean, we do talk online via Teams and stuff like that, but they're just not in the office. And so I enjoy communicating with people. I mean, hell, we're talking right here on a podcast once a week for the past, 70 something weeks, right? And I definitely enjoy communicating and whatnot. But it was a good kind of introspection moment of, yeah, I mean, that's right. Well, I am here to do a job, and I ain't trying to be their best friends, but I also don't want to come off as a jerk either, right? Because that's very easy to do, and that is hard to repair. Where, if you're nice up front, then it might possibly go over better. However, there was some coach in football who said it's impossible to go one way if, because there are really two kinds of coaches, or sometimes you might even say leaders, where there's the nice guy who is nice, and there is the mean asshole who's very regimented and structured and all this. You can't go from the nice guy to the mean guy. You just can't do it. Like, you will fail every single time. But you can successfully go from mean guy, hyper oriented and structured and all that, to the nice guy with a great amount of success. So it's kind of interesting. And I don't want to fall into that trap of the whole, being the nice guy, and then when shit gets tough, it's going to be, oh, well, you lost them because now you're being more strict or mean or whatever. If things kind of went downhill, then so good, kind of really good feedback this week. So I was real proud of them, and it's something too where I've got a great group of people who want to do really well, and are just all around great folks. So makes the job easy.
I bet it does.
Easier, I'll say.
Right. Surround yourself with good people. It always makes it easier.
Right. For sure. It's pretty cool. So.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing. The sun's been out for 2 days, and we're out of our minds down here.
Yeah, you're shopping and running around and doing all sorts of craziness. 2
days of sunshine. Yeah. Yeah. For once, you can get on your scooter and enjoy the ride.
Oh, I got you.
Instead of wishing that you had put long pants on, or wishing that you had a long sleeve shirt on or something.
Sure.
So, yeah. So it's pretty different down here. So, but they, from what I've seen in the news, it looks like Brazil's going out of their mind.
Are they? Why is that?
Oh yeah. There was like 3 or 4 or 5 million people out on the streets because they think the elections that they just had for president were tainted.
Oh, wow.
Or wrong, or
sure,
something, and everybody's, it looked like everybody in the country, the picture I saw, was out on the street protesting the results of this election. So,
well, yeah, if it's not a fair and free election with, and things get crossed, or, shady stuff happens, people will lose their mind, right? Because one of the things, at least I think, people really don't want to have tainted is their voice, right? Their ability to give their opinion and speak and whatnot. And that can be real bad real fast, right?
Yeah, this is a lot of people, 4 or 5 million people on the streets.
Oh my!
It's gotten real ugly real fast there.
Sure.
I haven't heard of any violence or anything like that, but they're out there saying that this isn't going to work. So,
well, speaking of things that aren't going to work and stuff getting violent and all that, the I had multiple people text me about the Russian missiles, right, that went over to Poland and killed a couple of people. And that was bananas. I'm not sure what was crazy here. The fact that it happened and I was getting messages about it, or that the messages were like, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Kind of just jump into it, man. Just start the conflict and let's go. Because, I mean, what would a war like that look like, right? I mean, a world war is what that would turn into, I would assume, very quickly. And it would be something where, everyone just presses we all press our red buttons and then that's it. It's over. So that would be wild to think that is what will be happening and whatnot, all just based off of, two people dying. But I mean, what was it? Francis Ferdinand got shot or assassinated, and then, hey, you're in World War I or II, right? So it happens.
Right.
But yeah, that's some craziness. And interestingly enough, one of my friends who was talking to me about that was telling me a bunch of jargon, okay, like lingo about NATO and stuff like that. And I said, man, where are you learning all this information? And he said, oh, it's a guy I watch on TikTok. And I lost my mind, man, because that's where you're getting your political news from. I mean, you are watching like 30-second to like 2-minute videos of former NATO planners. Just like, what? I can understand if you're out there to see, cute baby videos or dog videos or just people being goofy or whatever, but like that's where you're getting relevant information or pertinent information from and trusting it wholeheartedly. That to me, that's a weird one because, and of course, people can say whatever they want and they can be whomever. Like it's like, yeah, no, I'm a former naval officer, blah blah blah, who and have just throw out whatever credentials, and it's like, why are you listening to this person? And what's interesting about TikTok and several other social media sites and video sites and stuff like that, it's all algorithm based, right? So it's going to learn what you like, and then it's going to show you a lot more of that stuff. And then, so this guy's talking about nothing but Russia and Trump for like the past several months, right? And it's just, nobody cares. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, we have a finite amount of time and energy and resources personally. So why in the world are you utilizing it on that? So,
yeah, they're looking at the effect that TikTok has on people and all the information that the Chinese or whoever runs that has gathered from the United States, and they're looking at shutting it down because they know they've got too much information going on.
Yeah,
they're sucking too much information. I found out yesterday there's actually Chinese police departments in the United States.
What does that mean?
China actually has a police department in New York, and it's staffed with Chinese people. And I don't know what they do. They didn't get into all the specifics. They just said that they're in 30 different countries where they have police stations.
Really?
China has police stations in 30 different countries.
That's
and I thought, that's kind of crazy, but it's true.
When you say police stations, what does that mean?
I guess it's like a precinct station that, that people can come in and out of, and maybe they've got patrol cars or maybe they ride horses. I don't know. But they were talking about China having police stations across the country, across the world, in several different places. So who knows? Who knows who's policing who? So, yeah.
We China has opened
ourselves.
Yeah, China has opened has opened police stations in the U.S. and Canada. These are overseas police service stations around the globe to monitor its citizens living abroad. Okay, so there
you go.
So they have
that's their own police force in the United States to monitor their people, I guess, huh?
Yeah, that's and of course this is New York Post, so take that for what it is. But yeah, this is saying that to combat foreign citizens. Yeah, so something that is trying in an effort to combat fraud by its citizens living overseas, in part by opening several police stations on 5 continents that have assisted the Chinese authorities in carrying out policing operations on foreign soil. Whoa, that's.
They said they were in. They said they were in 30 countries.
Wow, and so yeah, it's just going to provide vital services. So the Chinese government has claimed that the stations provide a vital service to its citizens living abroad, though the report notes that many of the services are those that would traditionally be carried out by an overseas embassy. So that is kind of, I guess, what's going on. But the report argues that the stations have been used to enhance China's overseas law enforcement capabilities in possible violation of international law. That's kind of interesting. And also, didn't Papa Biden just recently meet with Xi Jinping? Yeah, they just had a summit
yesterday or the day before.
Yeah. That'd be pretty interesting. So, who knows what they're going to talk about? I wish they would shut down those freaking tariffs, man. That just costs people an arm and a leg, and it just goes to the customers too. Like, the companies aren't paying those taxes who are importing these goods and whatnot. They're like, oh, cool, your stuff's going to be more expensive by design, and it's like perfect. And something that is kind of interesting there is not everything American made is better. Like, just naturally, it's not saying it's not always better, but there are often times when the goods just aren't as good. Like, it's something that's it's kind of wild, but not something people think about all the time, right? Because you think of China, something's cheap, something's not made well, but there are plenty of products that are imported that come from over there that they make basically every piece to, and it might get assembled over here, right? So it's kind of interesting. So, and hopefully, oh goodness gracious, get rid of those tariffs, man. Like, they just make my job harder, and they just cost America more money. Now, granted, they are getting quote unquote more money, but I don't see any programs that are being enhanced by that. Let us know down in the comments below. What programs have come about because we are charging ourselves more money to import goods via taxes levied against Chinese importations? Like, comment, subscribe. Tickle the bell. Don't miss an episode, and let us know if you want us to be somewhere else. Do you want us to be on like Apple Podcasts? Do we need to be out on some other website so we can start just uploading to the web in multiple facets? So yeah, let us know down in the comments below what you think about that. But yeah, kind of wild. And speaking of like Xi Jinping and the president, so one of the questions that you wanted to look to is how do you feel about Orange Man Bad for 2024? And man, that dude is just like a grenade, right? Think, and then you just throw it, and I think he would possibly lead to almost assuredly another Democratic election, like a successful election. And the reason why I say that, because lost the last one, and then he would potentially take away from a source, and I mean, please let us know if I'm wrong here. He would potentially take away from a source or a possible candidate who isn't maybe necessarily as popular, but one who has kind of more what people would look for in a Republican primary candidate, and
right.
he would just take that away. It's similar to our previous discussion about, hilariously enough, the independent vote, right? Where that third party taking away 2% of, what do you call it? Taking away 2% of either Warnock or Herschel Walker's election stuff, like their voting power. I mean, they needed a percentage point to make the cutoff. So that 2% that the independent third party candidate got took away from that. So that means you have a runoff. So I think Trump is like or Orange Man, the one pump Trump, is in that same regard, right? He's somebody who is a party that disrupts, not one that solves any issues or anything like that. And I mean, heaven forbid, like one thing that they might even do is like ratchet up how much they're taxing everybody else around the world and stuff like that. Like I saw something recently that said we might have what's called anti-dumping duties on staples from like Vietnam and Thailand or something, where you're thinking like, stop it. Stop taxing staples, man. Like, and it's something where, I mean, I get it. And like anti-dumping is relevant, like trying to make sure they don't flood the market and just, screw up our economies and whatnot. But also too, like, find a better way, man. You know what I'm saying? And also it's staples. Like it's cents on the dollar per like staple, right? Like it's cents on cents. It's not even cents on dollars, right? So to that end, now maybe it's different kinds of staples, but still they're not that expensive. I mean, you buy like 10 million of them a time, and then okay, it might start to add up a little bit, but it's just kind of goofy for that. But yeah, so with him announcing, so was that what you're saying? Is he did confirm his running?
Was it Monday night?
Gotcha.
Or Tuesday night?
Okay.
Maybe Monday.
Yeah, I mean,
he came on TV and said. And it was really interesting because he didn't say anything bad about anybody that had picked on him while he was president. Never mentioned the Russia hoax, never mentioned the FBI, never mentioned. He was very careful, and whoever wrote this was very structured.
Sure.
They didn't mention anything that happened before.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't mention none of that. And so he was very presidential and very, he said something ugly about Joe a couple of times,
mm-hmm.
and the situations that he has gotten us in.
Okay.
And it was really an interesting. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched part of a playback of it.
Oh, God.
It was interesting to see how he stayed on point, and he didn't talk bad about anybody, and he didn't insult anybody.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't say anything ugly about anybody in the midterms that lost or won or any of that kind of stuff.
Sure.
He stayed right on point to, I'm going to run for president in 2024, and we're going to make get America back on track, and we're going to, and he named off some specifics that he was going to do. Excuse me. And he said, I did them last time, and we'll do them this time.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. And so everybody was talking about how presidential he was and how he wasn't,
right.
There was no bad tweets, and he didn't say anything bad about anybody or call anybody out or call them any names or anything like that. So, but then they also showed a list of about 6 people that they thought would be Republican candidates for president also, like Ron DeSantis or Kristi Noem.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Kristi Noem? No, Kate. Who was the lady that was the UN ambassador?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
Nikki Haley.
Oh, Nikki Haley.
Nikki Haley was
yeah.
the United States ambassador to the United Nations.
Gotcha.
They talked about her. They named off like, Ted Cruz, DeSantis, and Kerry Lake. They had about 6 or 7 people that they thought would throw their hat in the ring. Mike Pompeo,
mm-hmm.
that used to be the director of the CIA, they had him down as maybe throw his hat in the ring for 2024. So they had an interesting group of people to throw their hat in the ring. So it'll be an interesting couple of years till the elections. But the first time he goes off the rails and says anything ugly,
oh, it's on, man. Yeah.
Yeah, he might as well just forget about it. He might as well just forget it, because he's a huge distraction,
mm-hmm.
and he's egotistical, arrogant son of a bitch. And if he would stay on point and do the things he needs to do and, accomplish what he needs to accomplish, America could get back where they need to be, because we're definitely out of control right now. Definitely out of control. America is. The sun's been out here the last 2 days, and we've been out of our minds.
I'm sure y'all been out of control as well. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Well, they moved the curfew here. I told you last week there was curfew, right?
Yep.
There's a curfew at 9:00 at night here because of the gangs and some of the criminals coming in from Venezuela and Colombia and places like that are coming in and robbing people and stuff like that. So, but they moved it from 9 to 11.
Oh, okay.
So now 11:00 at night is the curfew from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m.
No, there you go.
Don't let them catch you on the streets, man. So these cats here, man, they're liable to shoot first and ask questions later.
I have no doubt.
So,
well, and that's
because they have no tolerance for that kind of stuff down here, man.
Sure. Well, if it's at night too, I mean, like, shit, just
what
dump your
reason
body.
Do you have to be on the? What reason do you have to be on the street at 1 a.m?
Because I'm leaving the strip club. Get out of here.
That's. I asked somebody, what are the girls going to do? They open at 3. Not that I would know any of this information without someone explaining it to me. They open at 3 and they were closing at 9. And they normally didn't close till 2. So they were working, they had an 11-hour day or a 10-hour day. They might have closed at 1, but I don't know what their closing time was, but now at least they can go from 3 to 11 and have an 8-hour gig.
There you go.
Before they've got to hit the street and go to the crib. So yeah, I don't know why they moved it. I'm sure there's a reason, but I don't know why they changed it. But I wish he wasn't running.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish he wasn't running, because he's a huge distraction to the nation. A huge distraction to the nation. I don't care if he's being a good boy or a bad boy. He's just he's just a distraction.
Well, it'll be another 4 years of just orange man bad. Like, look at all the crazy ass things he's doing, and something that
and we don't need that. We don't need that. You got the House of Representatives. You got control of that.
Yep, just got control of the House.
You're not going to have control of the Senate, I don't think, even if Herschel wins in Georgia. And get back to making sure that America's okay and the people are okay and prices are like where they need to be and all this craziness, man.
Oh,
start putting people in jail or start executing people, man, or something. Damn.
Seeing the prices go up of like milk and eggs and orange juice and all this stuff. That's something else, man. Like,
well, I talked to 2 women that just came back from Alaska, and they said prices are off the chart on staples. Bread and milk, nuts. Like you said, bread and milk and eggs and things. They said it's incredible. It's incredible how costly everything is. Right. And they were in Alaska.
Well,
and I'm like, wow.
No, it's going to be more expensive up there naturally because they have to import all that shit.
Well, but still crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, hell, little chickens, it would be, pooping out ice cubes, they wouldn't be pooping out eggs or whatever. And the cows, their lines would be clogged up. So you just
But, it's still, regular gas is still $2.40 a gallon down here.
It's, like $3.18 I got it for this week, so.
Premium here is close to $4, $3.96.
Yeah.
Close to $4. And a lot of stuff runs on premium. So, but diesel's only like $2.25 or something ridiculous.
See, that's where they're hitting us hard. Is diesel up here is like $5.18 or something. It's ridiculous.
It doesn't have to be that much, though. It doesn't have to be that much. But the first thing Joe did when he came in was cut off the Keystone Pipeline.
Mm-hmm. I
mean that. Anyway, we could go on and on about how stupid he is, and whoever's calling the shots or doing whatever.
Well, I just
wish Trump wasn't running again, because he's a distraction.
Sure.
To the nation and the nation's progress forward.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, and speaking of progress forward, the Court of Appeals, or what's that court? The it's not the appellate court. It's the one that blocked the student loan forgiveness thing. It's interesting because under the HEROES Act, they can basically, as long as they find COVID is a threat to the nation and whatnot, they could indefinitely postpone the repayments and interest and all that stuff on those loans and stuff. But who was it? Like, what court is this? Let's see. It's the appeals court. So they block the Biden student loans forgiveness like program thing, right? And what's wild is they block it. Well, heck, most of us, I say most of us, a lot of us already turned in our application. Like, are you saying that some folks are going to have their loans forgiven and some aren't? Like they're going to put the money back on their accounts and whatnot? Or had they already processed some and whatnot, or what? You know, that was.
You'll never know. As shady as this administration is, you'll never know. But they didn't tell you that until after the election. You know, they were like, "We're going to forgive your loans, and we're going to take care of all of you young people, and y'all won't have to pay those back." And we'll take. They knew all along it was unconstitutional. They knew that it was against the law and unconstitutional, and they kept feeding the public that lie all the way up till election day. And then the very next day, the very next morning, you come out and the court says, no, you're not doing that. So they led you along to get your vote. And now they're going, oh, sorry. Thanks for voting for us. But, you know, you can't not repay your loan. So
how is that unconstitutional?
He can't with the stroke of a pen. He can't with the stroke of a pen change the law like that. He can't just come through and change a repayment law like that. So, but like you said, they didn't need your pay. They hadn't needed your payment for the last 3 years.
All right.
So they don't need it now.
Well,
not as much money as he's giving away to all these other countries and stuff.
Yeah, that's something that is kind of interesting. But yeah, like it's just the last little bit, and it was like, oh man, we're almost there. You know, almost have a clean slate, and then just it going back and forth is kind of wild. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm actually on the website right now for the student loans thing, and at the very top of the page, it's got something that's about half the screen wide, and it says, Student Debt Relief Plan. Courts have issued orders blocking student debt relief. The Biden-Harris administration is seeking to overturn those orders. For the latest information regarding the status of the student debt relief, please visit thestudentaid.gov. And so when you go there, it says, oh, would you like some student loans? Get your money and then repay them. And it said COVID-19 student loan repayment pause. The loan flexibility. The moratorium on that is, this says it's extended through December 31st, 2022. But this says so that's in the big chunk of text up there. This is saying they do not resume until 2023. So something might be in the works already that they're trying to, they're going to, and if they can't get it pushed back like that, then they'll go ahead and, or that they can't get it cleared out, then they will push it a little bit further if they can, right? Because at this point, just like you said, if it was something where, hey, that's a promise, and then that was something where, yay, vote Dems, like that's the point, right? Where, oh, look, they couldn't do it. Or they're punishing folks for voting for the Dems because, but it just kind of how you look at it, like, you know, what the perspective is there of, are we going to make sure that they don't vote for them again because they make them look like liars? Or
they are.
You know, like
everything they say is a lie when you fact check it. It is. Okay. They've caught him in so many lies. It's not even funny. I don't know how the guy's still president. Well, because they had control of the Senate and control of the House. That's why he's still president. That's the first thing they ought to do is impeach him.
That would be different.
Yeah, they should. And then they should bring him up on charges for the Hunter laptop and all the stuff that he's done behind the scenes and stuff. They just forget about all that stuff.
I don't think they forget about it. I think that they just actively don't pursue it. You know what I mean?
The guy's a criminal, man. He's a criminal and his son's a criminal. The family's a criminal enterprise. And he doesn't know whether to wave or salute. So somebody else is pulling the strings.
Well,
but yeah, that's a sad deal.
It is.
But I think they hocus pocused a bunch of people saying, well, yeah, we're going to get your loan forgiven, and you need to vote for us because we're the greatest and all that kind of stuff. And then they got the vote from the students. And then that very next day, the court came out. The court came out the very next day and said, yeah, we're blocking that. They can't do it.
Yeah, that is something else,
very
man.
telling.
Like, yeah, well, that's annoying as fuck is what that is. That's just stupid. Because, people made plans on that shit. Like that.
Sure they do.
That's something that is pretty crazy. So it's like, oh, sweet. That's real annoying,
Right.
Because now granted, that just means the folks who were, looking forward to that and going to make moves on that, then now they can't. So it's like, okay, well, you're in kind of this, like, you weren't in any worse off shape than the folks who, busted their hump trying to pay it off or get it done right or whatever. And since there's no interest, like, they just turn the light back on, basically, then you start paying again. So at least they blocked that, but that was just that's crazy. Yeah, the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals granted a preliminary injunction against the student loan forgiveness in response to a lawsuit filed by 6 states who argued they would lose out on tax revenue due to the plan. Wow.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, that's
the states are worried about their money instead of taking care of their people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know one of them was Texas. I forget what the other states were. The lawsuit filed by the 6 states there. Dang, ain't that something?
Well,
ain't that some shit?
Yeah, it is. So on Thursday, when you turn 35 years old, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Hopefully debt free and 5 years older and slimmer and working out and maybe have moved up in the job to actual management position possibly, but beyond that, it's if I could plan out 5 years ahead of time, I wouldn't be sitting here doing what I'm doing right now. You know what I mean?
Easy now. Easy.
So I don't mean talking to you. I just mean in general. So.
Okay.
Yeah, that's wild. So, just I would be interested to see what's going to happen in 5 years, just like with the country, right? Because at that point you'll have another president. You'll potentially. We'll see how inflation does and how the stock market does and all of that. Possibly, trying to get into a new technology. If it's 5 years from now, possibly trying to do that. Still most likely trying to make myself sound like a robot when I want to. Just turn on the switch and sound very robotic. But yeah, living in a place, just doing the grind.
China's got some different plans for the chip market for the world.
Okay.
They're fixing to shut that chip market down.
Fair.
Yeah. It's going to get ugly, I think, with them before long.
It might.
With the chips for computers and phones.
Microchips, right. Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Well, if that's the case, then they're going to either have the world by the balls, or we're going to have to find new ways to produce those. Right?
I thought they had some U.S. plants making them.
They may, which is great. But if you look, I mean, like at supply and demand of that sort of a thing, that would just drive prices crazy, right?
Right.
And it would, be ridiculous if you couldn't get them, from China or whomever we're trying to purchase them from. But understand this too, like people, or I would say China in this instance, like they need us, like we need them to a degree of goods and whatnot, and then they need consumers, and that I think is America's beyond our culture, that is kind of a melting pot, amalgamation and stuff like media and intellectual property stuff. The best thing that America has going for it is we're all perfect consuming machines, right? Buy, consume, eat, drink. It's all, and we're programmed to do that. I mean, especially now, like the world is in your hand, and you can literally buy, look up, consume all things at all times. There is no barrier for entry. So.
Well, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
It'll be interesting. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Well, down here, everything's just kind of motoring along. The sun's come out the last 2 days for about 6 hours, and everybody's gone out of their minds.
Mm-hmm.
Me included.
I bet it's nice to get out and get moving around and,
in the sunshine for a change.
Well, I mean, down there, I would explode, but maybe you all have gotten used to it at this point in time. So, yeah, I would. If I was out there for too long, I would just turn red until I became black. Like I would just be a little crispy boy. So,
I was telling somebody about you coming down here and fishing in the ocean.
Oh yeah,
and the back of your hand wasn't covered,
red,
down to here with the sweatshirt on. The back of your hand and the tops of your feet.
Yep.
When you were standing out there in the ocean, the water would go away and the sun would come in and then the water would come back in.
Yep.
And I said, yeah, he was about to explode when he got out, and the two big red spots there. And I said, I was sitting on a log, a piece of driftwood, with my hands on my knees.
Mm-hmm.
And I got up and I had white spots where my hands were sitting on my knees with my fingers. You could see my finger indentions. And I said, so then we decided to go to the cabana and drink all the beer the guy had.
Yeah, exactly. That's the deal, man. You gotta take your Gold Bond cream that has lidocaine in it, so it kind of deadens the pain, man. Because just getting that little bit of burn on my legs, feet, and hands. I mean, at that point, I was still 100% like, nope, shade.
Yeah,
we're ending this.
Of course, I asked Bob where the guy was going. He said, hell, Tommy, you drank up all the beer he has. He's got to go get some more.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, so he ran into town and got some more beer and came back. You could hear the bottles clanking in his bags when he was running back into the cabana. It's like,
too funny.
Okay. So
that was a cool little like place out there where like they're open, from basically at lunchtime, 3 days a week or 4 days a week or some shit like that.
Right.
But really good food, man. I mean, like some really great rice and the freshest, shrimp you'll ever eat, really good stuff. So have y'all ever figured out what those little things are on the like Monty's appetizer platter? You can tell what most of the stuff is, but there's one thing there that it almost looks like the top of a squid, but I don't think that's what it is.
Clam?
Maybe.
Is it clams?
Maybe.
Or
could be.
Is it
I mean, it's all fried, so you can't tell what the fuck you're putting in your mouth anyways, but
Right. I'm trying to think of what all they got on the platter. It's like shrimp, and then they have French fries,
and
then they have clams, I don't know. It's all fried food, and we're here for the fried food to suck up the beer we're drinking.
Exactly. 100%.
I went over there this past week with two guys, and that was an interesting
Experience, I bet.
visit. Yeah.
I have no doubt, my friend.
They all, for some reason here, they all have little bitty chair bottoms, little small chair backs.
Yeah.
And they're all wood.
Mm-hmm.
They're all wooden. And it's like, you expect me to sit on this quarter size piece of wood with no back to my chair for 3 hours or 4 hours and drink beer at your establishment. After about my third trip there, I started taking my own chair.
Your own chair. I love it.
So I bungee my own chair to the back of my scooter, and I ride over there. And
there you go.
Yeah, and I just unbungee it and then take my chair over there and set it down. And they're like, "Hey, man, how you doing?" You know, they take the chair out of the way before they see me walking down the sidewalk with my chair. You know.
Oh my, yeah.
Yes, because we sat there last time.
Yeah.
We sat there like 3 hours last time, just talking and drinking beer and watching the world go by.
Nothing wrong with that.
So, yeah, because it's right across the street from the fish market, where the fishermen come in and they do some of their cleaning and some of their scaling and some of their packaging and things like that. There's a big place across the street, and so you see a lot. And then you see the pickup trucks go by with the piece of wood across the back with the engines hanging on the back. They've taken off their boats,
there you go.
So nobody steals them, and they take the engines to their houses and stuff.
That I love that so much, where it's like, you ain't taking this. Yeah, just take the most expensive part, right? It's like when they don't want you to steal like the bicycle or something, they take off the front wheel or whatever. Yeah.
It's pretty interesting here, some of the things that they do to prevent theft, and some of the things they do, to not prevent it, or it doesn't matter to them or whatever. So,
well, why would you have to prevent theft in paradise? I don't understand.
That's the biggest crime here is theft.
Sure.
Because they see you and you have something, but if you're not using it, or you, it's like if you lay your phone over here.
Yeah, finders keepers.
And it's you're not paying attention to it, or you get up and go to the bathroom. They'll walk by and pick that phone up in a heartbeat because they thought, well, hell, he just left it laying there, so he doesn't need it, or he's not paying attention to it, or something like that. So, yeah. So that's one of the things that's here. Probably I don't know if the biggest crime, but one of the more common crimes is theft of people stealing stuff, and it's an entitlement thing. You're not going to use it, so I'm taking it.
Wow.
Okay. That's why I don't take my phone with me. When I leave the house, phone stays right here. I don't take it with me. Unless I'm going into town by myself, and then I put it under the seat of my scooter and I don't take it out.
Gotcha.
Unless I have to have it until I come back.
Okay.
I don't take it. I don't take it out because I'm not going to leave it sitting somewhere or not think about it or any of that kind of stuff, man.
Sure.
And I try to pay close attention to my surroundings all the time, so nobody just rolls up on me. So, because they're doing a lot of that now, they're rolling up on people and trying to rob them and stuff. So
that's kind of messed up.
Yeah. So you got to be aware of what's going on around you all the time. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And sometimes during holidays or weekends, it gets real crowded down here. Real crowded. So you don't get up and walk away from something to go to the bathroom and leave it there without somebody sitting there watching it or holding on to it or got it in their hand or whatever. So
what do you think is the most stolen item?
Probably cell phones, because people don't pay attention. Most people are not paying attention to what's going on around them.
That's
and
interesting.
They'll take it and they'll set it down on the table, and then people just pick it up and walk off.
Sure. That's interesting, though. I would assume that if cell phones had locks and all that stuff, maybe they're able to change the chip out and then just make it a new phone, and it's not a big deal.
I don't know.
That to me does not seem like it would be a wise theft, just because it can lock, right? Like you can shut the phone down in a lot of cases as well remotely. So
Right.
kind of interesting to see
Well, they
how that
can
works.
just sell it, look, it comes on, give me $20 or give me $50 or something for this phone. I don't know what I don't know what they take. I'm not giving them the opportunity
That's very fair.
because I don't carry anything with me. I mean, I got my wallet and I changed wallets because I have one that had a money clip on it. And on the other side, it had your ID and stuff. So every time I took it out of my pocket, the money was right there
Oh yeah,
on the money clip, exposed.
sure.
So I waited till I found the guy that does all the leather works. He makes belts and hats and boots and stuff like that. And he makes these little zipper coin purses. And so I got one of them for, I don't know, $5, but it's real leather and he sews it, hand sews it. So it's put together really well.
Word.
And yeah, so I just unzip that, slide all my ID and my money down in it, zip it up, stick it in my pocket. And it's got a place for coins too, if you want to put them in there. But
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'll put the dollar coins in there, maybe 4 or 5 of them. But other than that, I don't put any other change in there. So
There you go.
yeah, it's pretty different down here. Pretty different. I sat in the neighbor's pickup truck today while Pat and Lori and Gigi were all into shopping. The women wanted to go shopping, and I don't care about going shopping. So,
Just sat in the truck and chilled, eh?
But I just wanted to get out of the house, and so she parks where I can watch the world go by, people going up and down the streets and stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
Everything happening. So, yeah, I just sat there and the sun was out. It was a beautiful day. Wasn't too hot. The breeze was blowing. So I sat there with my bottle of water and watched the world go by. And it's pretty interesting at times. Some of the things you see.
Oh, I'm sure.
So horses going down the street, people riding the horses, and
that is fantastic, right? Where they
electric,
just,
electric scooters down here. There's been an explosion of those too, where people have figured out for $400, $450, they can get the mom, the dad, and 2 kids on one of them,
right?
Just to go around town.
Around town, sure.
Yeah, so that's what they do. You'll see four people riding on one. That's not uncommon at all.
Sure.
Yeah. So,
well, it starts with making everyone mobile, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Then once they're all mobile, then you at that point, you start having to do as much public transit, and then people can do more things and get around to more places, and it's just gonna start to blow up,
Well, I was talking to somebody today, and I said the yellow bus came by, and I said, "How much it cost to ride that bus?" They said 50 cents, and they said that bus will take you to another city.
Gotcha.
For 50 cents, and I was like, "Really?" And they're like, "Yeah." And then another bus came by that was older without any markings on it except for a white number on the side of it. And I said, "No, what is that bus?" They said, "That's the local bus that goes up and down the streets. And it's a quarter to ride it."
There you go. That's not bad.
And I said, "Really? It's 25 cents to ride this bus."
Uh-oh. Somebody's out there. Bargaining.
Yeah. Somebody's doing something they shouldn't.
Yeah, they're getting up.
Because it's 7:20 here.
Oh, that's very
at
fair.
night, so the sun's down and it's dark. So,
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yes. Yeah. So that's Rosie. She doesn't usually bark. I don't know what's wrong with her.
But they need to figure that out. But it's some interesting times. We're about to go into the holiday season. People are going to start taking off and enjoying their holidays, which leaves the folks who don't take off to go fuck themselves because they're not going to enjoy their holidays because they just got to pick up where everyone's leaving off. So it's shenanigans. I say it's.
Surely they keep up with that where it's not doesn't put you shorthanded, where you're unable to do the job with letting more than one person or letting too many people off out of one department.
Well,
surely they've been doing it long enough to know better.
See, they think that, and you would think that, but hilariously enough, it's almost like people forget how to function every year, right? Because it's like, cool, let people off. Or one of the things that does happen that is a little bit wild is it'll be, hey, let this person off. Okay, then this person asks like a month and a half later, well, we obviously forgot about the initial request, right? Like, oops, forgot that. Didn't go check the, what do you call it? Didn't go check the, what's it called? Not the map, the calendar, right? They didn't go check the calendar. And okay, cool. Let's go take a look at it first before we say sure. Because then, much to your point, you are there and you're just SOL because you've told too many people they can take off. And then it's like, oh, well, it won't be too bad. It won't be a big deal. And it's like, nah, man. It is going to be bad because people like, you just have too much volume to let too many people go at the same time. And like, you do want to allow folks to have time off and whatnot, but not at the expense of your other people, right? Like that's one of the things I think kind of gets lost in the weeds. And now granted, it is on us, specifically, leadership to have enough people to cover down on that and be okay and have backup plans and stuff. But when, the right hand didn't know what the left is doing, and it's like, well, sure, they can take off, and then this person, and then once you get down to the fourth, man or woman who's down, it's like, oh, crap, and you're just not paying attention. So then it's like, oh, well, what do you do? I mean, one guy is going to be out for 17 days. That's ridiculous.
It is.
So
there should be a limit on how many days you could take in a row.
Well, and the big thing here
that's detrimental to the operation.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Now, granted, what's occurring is that is happening because of the way that holidays are falling this year, right?
Okay.
Where you're having issues where I say issues, it works out perfectly for the people who can take advantage of it. But for those who can't, it's just like, holy crap, man. And we got one guy who's heading to Italia. He's heading to Italy where his family's from, and he'll be gone for 2 weeks. That's going to be insane. Like that whole process is just going to be ridiculous, And I mean, 2 weeks that's a long time, especially when it's just like the volume's crazy. But we'll have to make do. We'll get through it. But it'll just be like, holy smokes, man! Several stiff drinks in our future. I declare. So
okay,
you know what I mean. But yeah, wild stuff, man. So, but you have almost hit your hour mark there, sir. Was there anything else you wanted to discuss or go over?
They moved our. Did I tell you? Did we talk about the curfew here? They moved it to 11.
Yeah, you mentioned that it had gone up to 11 o'clock
11
as opposed
o'clock,
to 9 o'clock? I think you said originally. So
yeah, it was originally 9 o'clock, and they moved it to 11. So
yeah,
if you're out after 11 o'clock, your ass is going to jail.
Get your ass to jail.
Pretty much. You don't have no business being out that late.
Well, so, I don't know, dude.
Public transportation's running, and I guess people coming home from work or whatever can get away with saying, I'm coming home from work.
I could see that.
I don't know.
Yeah. Because, I mean, what if somebody works the third shift and there's a curfew? It's like, do you stop people working that, like at that time? I mean, that'd make a whole lot of sense,
I'm sure they've got to have some kind of ID or something showing, where they work and when they work and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, I mean,
to get off the hook. To get off the hook.
Sure. Makes sense. But
I sure hope Herschel Walker wins down in Georgia.
that'll be interesting to see kind of what goes on down there, you know?
Yeah. It's sad when neither one of them get 50% of the vote. That's pretty telling. It's like neither one of them deserved the position because neither one of you could get 50%. So
I mean, but we talked about that though, like
I
very
know,
specifically
with the third party and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, Trump and DeSantis and Ted Cruz and all these people need to roll down into Georgia and help them. Herschel ain't the sharpest knife in the drawer. He might be the best football player on the field, but you know,
maybe
Warnock's even a worse choice. Yeah, I said it.
Okay.
For all my Georgian relatives.
I was gonna say, watch out, homeboy.
Yeah.
So
my niece and my nephew and my brother. Yeah. God bless them.
Everyone. So
that's right.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
Good stuff. Well, that about wraps it up here. Thank you all so very much for watching the Life in General podcast here with Tom and Jay. Appreciate all of our 60 subs out there. You all are awesome. Tell your friends, share the video, hit the comment section. Let us know what you want to see.
Subscribe.
Should we go somewhere else? Like, comment, and subscribe. And we will catch you all in the next episode.
See you.